Hmm. Would you still love me if I was a worm? That is a question as old as time.
If you've ever been in a relationship, and I know one person who's gonna be watching this video and is not, hi Mano.
If you've ever been in a relationship, you would have heard these words. Would you still love me if I was a worm? Now, the question in itself is a metaphor. Basically, what it means, and the right answer is yes. The question tries to imply, would you still love me if I lacked everything except my personality? Basically, looks or material things like money, status, and everything else. Would you still love me if all I had to offer is my personality? That's what the question is at the face value, not at face value, but metaphorically at face value. The answer should be yes. Depends on who's answering, of course. If you don't love your significant other. Anyways, what I wanted to do today is go a bit more into the hypothetical because let's be honest, the people who ask this question are most likely guys, and we take things a bit way too literally.
Or maybe I'm just autistic.
Either way, I just want to get into this hypothetical. Now, there are two schools of thoughts. Are you warm with a consciousness, aka your personality imprinted on it? Or are you just a warm where you turned into a worm? Is your essence the fact that you were you and just turned into a worm? I'm gonna explore both ways. The second question is, what type of worm are you? Are you a worm that's gonna molt into a butterfly, a moth? Are you a maggot? Or are you just an earthworm? Supposing you're a maggot, I would be supplying you with feces? Anyways, let's say for the hypothetical that it's an earthworm, a common earthworm, the ones that you draw like a dick. Anyways, the first school of thought is that you have your consciousness imprinted into a worm, or you turn somehow into a worm and your consciousness and personality is still there. First off, do I know that? Will there be any way for me to figure that out? Option A, if I know that, I'm gonna figure out a way to communicate with you. I'm gonna put you in a jar, have very good pH levels of the soil, bring you the best food that I can, and I'm gonna find a way to communicate, aka either through making a keyboard that senses touch or something, or just like Morse code.
That could also work.
The option B is me not knowing that you have consciousness and it's your personality into a worm or you into a worm with a personality. I don't know how I would feel until I figured out that you're conscious. I would keep you safe, I guess. I would keep you in a jar, safe and sound, but other than that, I would try to study how the fuck first it happened and if I can communicate to see if you're conscious or not. First option or the first school of thought where you're conscious is not that bad, you know? I mean, it is pretty bad. You lose your significant other and it turns into a worm, but you can still communicate. Think of it as long distance without video calling or audio calling or fast texting or ever meeting. Just imagine it like a very bad long distance. Like a long distance created from a catfish, from an uncle that's 50 years old and wants to touch your penis, but it's so far away and you're so deep into this relationship that you're just committed to it and you can never meet because you both don't want to meet each other. Now, the other school of thought is that you just turn into a worm with the brain capacity of a worm, with the consciousness of a worm. So basically, not you. Option A, I know that I will be sad. Would I love you? Probably not. And I'm not saying it in a malicious way, I'm saying it in the sense that you are not you anymore. What constitutes as you as a person is your personality and looks and your consciousness. But basically, I would probably say yes in the sense that I would miss my significant other. You know what I mean? Like, I would be sad, not I would be sad. That's it. I would be sad. It would be like you just don't exist anymore. You're not there. You are dead. I would probably make a funeral and bury the worm. Let's say that you turn into a worm. I am not informed whether you're conscious or not, but when you die as a worm, you come back as what you were before, and I'm not informed of it. In the first school of thought, you are conscious. I probably wouldn't have figured it out. I would try to figure it out. If we figure it out, good, we can communicate, and then I will just wait. I will probably have extreme existential dread, and a lot of questions, and probably hate the deity that turned you into a worm. But at the end of the day, you're gonna turn back into a human, and it will be like nothing happened. Mostly. The second is that you wouldn't be conscious. So for you, you would just fall asleep one night, wake up, and like nothing happened. And I would be on the ground crying and drinking and smoking 50 packs of cigarettes a day and weed and drugs, hoping that something somewhere would help me. And I would probably spiral out and I would probably start drinking and maybe delve myself into like a sex pit just to feel something because I would miss it so much. And then suddenly you just wake up and I'm there, and or you're there suddenly, and I'll just be on the ground, happy with a lot of existential crisis thoughts going through my head, maybe some suicidal thoughts, and in need of a lot of therapy. Because in the first option, I might find out that you're conscious. I would probably try to figure it out. I don't know how long do earthworms live for. Give me a second. My answers just changed. Earthworms typically live between 1 to 3 years in an urban environment, while those in more rural settings can live up to 4 to 7 years. Now, supposing that you were conscious and I figured it out eventually, I could wait it out. I could wait it out, and I would be pretty happy for the day when you are back into a human form. If you weren't conscious, I would probably move on. I maybe wouldn't. I'm trying to put myself in the situation way too literally. Suppose that my girlfriend turns into a worm without her consciousness, and I don't know that, and I don't know that they're gonna come back after, let's say 2 years. If I didn't know that, I would probably get very depressed, and if I didn't look, I probably wouldn't look after the worm, or maybe I would. Maybe I would grow extremely protective of the worm. Maybe I would become obsessed with worms, making its life as good as possible, hoping that maybe that will help somehow. Or I would neglect the worm so much it dies of natural causes, my significant other never comes back, I spiral into drinking, I spiral into drugs, I go and I rob a bank, hopefully to get a lot of money and drown myself with even more drugs and even more alcohol. And in the end, I successfully rob the bank. I start an underground sexual trafficking business with worms so that it reminds me of my significant other. And one day I get busted by cops and I get killed in a shootout where I kill 105 police officers along with my good sidekick, Huevo. I am having an existential crisis